Hey everyone, and welcome back to Shepherd's Life. Today's adventure is going to be making the strawberry rhubarb jam that my mom had made for us when we were growing up. And it's the simplest recipe ever. I always thought it was super complicated as a kid, and then when I grew up, Mom gave me the recipe and I realized how simple it was. So today you're going to see what we do for that. So when it comes to rhubarb, around here in Atlantic Canada, it grows everywhere, and it's funny because I have a brother who lives in Toronto, and he was telling how expensive it is to buy it in the grocery store when it grows in our backyard here. So what we do in the summertime, or what I do, because I'm not always able to make the strawberry rhubarb jam in the summer, is I go and collect the rhubarb, I clean it up, and I cut it all into small pieces so that the prep work is done for when I want to make it. So today, I actually am doing a triple batch, and this is my frozen rhubarb that I've had in the freezer for a couple months, and this is what the base of the strawberry rhubarb jam is. So we're going to start with putting it in the pot, and I'm going to put all 3 bags in. Now I've pre-measured this to be 6 cups each, for each bag I should say, and even though it's still frozen, the heat of this is going to melt that all, and it's going to end up getting a lot finer, so it's not going to be chunky like you see right now. Then after that, we need to add in a can of crushed pineapple for each batch I'm going to make. So I'm making 3, so I need 3 cans. Now once that's all entered, you're going to be in shock of this. For every batch that we are making, we have to add 6 cups of sugar. So this is very sweet. It is not for the faint of heart, and definitely not for diabetics. So here this looks like a big old pile, but once it starts cooking, it's going to be reduced quite a bit. So the goal of this is to boil this all together. Now the recipe says you boil it for 15 minutes. Once it starts boiling, you let it boil for 15 minutes. However, because everything is frozen, I am probably going to let it sit a little longer till I like the consistency that I prefer. So here you can see after it boiled down how much difference it is. Basically everything is completely melded together. The rhubarb is starting to disintegrate a bit, which we want some chunks, but we definitely want it to be more disintegrated than it started out as. And so now we're going to get ready for the next step, which is adding the jello. So what we have to do is we have to remove this from the hot part of the stove. Or remove off the stove, whichever you prefer, and then we're going to add in the jello mixture. So last time when we were making salsa, we didn't get into the bottling portion. But what we have to do is you always have to make sure you start with clean bottles, which involves obviously washing them. But on top of that, you have to scald them just before you use them to make sure that the bottles are heated and ready to receive the very hot mixture you're going to put in there. But also, if you come over to this sink, you're going to see I have sealable lids. And this is going to make the jam last for several years. So I'm heating them up so that it'll contract and it'll be ready to seal properly on the bottles. So one thing I always start with is one of these. It's kind of a filter, but it's a wider mouth. I have 2 sizes, and this is the larger of the size I have. And this allows it so that the rim of the bottle doesn't get dirty while I'm doing this process. If the rim is dirty, then it makes it difficult to seal. You'll also notice that I'm wearing rubber gloves, and that is so that when I touch the hot bottles, it doesn't burn my hands. Now when you put this in here, you want to make sure that you're not right at the top, but you're just below the rim. And I don't know if we can see that here, but it's just here at the bottom. And that's to make sure it has room to breathe and it's not going to overflow. Then what we do is we take that hot seal and we put it right on there. And then we're going to take Make sure it's on the center. And you're gonna take a ring and you're going to put that in. And what's gonna happen is right now, you can hear that it bounces back and forth. What's gonna happen in the next 12 to 48 hours, this should pop in, and that's how you know it's sealed and it's gonna last for a good amount of time. And here's the final product of our jam. And if you look right behind it, you'll be able to see our salsa from last week's vlog.